Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Happy New Year to everybody, and so glad that you are here with us. This is my first brand new program here since the new year. I've been on vacation a while. Glad to be back. Joining me, Dr. Alice Benton. Hello, Alice. Welcome.
Steve, we really missed you. I'm glad you're back.
Well, me too. I'm really glad. And Milan Yerkovich. Hey, Milan. Good to see you.
Hey, Steve. Hi, Alice. How are you?
Hey, Milan.
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Special guest in the studio with Milan, his daughter Kelly, who good to see her.
And she's dishing dirt on Milan over the breaks.
Yeah.
I hope.
I hope so too. Anyway,
glad you're with us. I didn't know I was setting myself up here. Go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
That's okay. If you want to join us, you can call us at 1-800-229-3000. That's the phone number, 1-800-229-3000. We would love to talk with you, get the year started off. Two things I want to mention to you. One is please be in prayer for our good friend Dave Stoop. Mm-hmm. He has really had a tough time over the holidays and heard a little bit of good news from Jan yesterday, but just pray that Dave's health, God's will occur, and that he will not struggle. He's just been such an amazing friend of mine, of New Life, a great associate. Some people might say he's a gentle giant, but Dave, he was so powerful. Whenever he knew somebody needed some truth that maybe they didn't exactly want to hear, he was able to communicate that in a way that it was accepted. And boy, there's not a more consistent person that I respect more than Dave. So please pray for him. And then I want to give you something to think about. A new theme for me in 2021, and it's this. You can either go on a diet or you can go on a do it. And I say, let's do it. Let's quit doing all the, make a resolution. Okay, that's fine. Resolutions are fine. And then if you don't keep it, then let's figure out what was missing. What do we need to add so that we can do it, that we can complete the resolution? Don't just give up on it. If you made a resolution, you've obviously done a little evaluation, which is good. But if it hasn't worked, don't say, okay, well, I failed again, and wait till next year to fail again. Let's figure out what it is that you need to add to the program. That's how we make changes that last.
Steve, one of the things that I see frequently, and I've done myself over the years, is you try and do it perfectly, or you try to do it with 100% consistency. And I've learned myself that that's a formula for disaster. I'm going to work out every day. Well, no, you're not. You're not going to work out every day. So if I can work out, 75% of the time, or even, 4 out of 7 days of the week, that's a success. And to really understand what success is, and in that formula you will have done more this year than you did last year.
That's so good. So okay, we're all talking the same way here, and it's just that let's do what we need to do to make a difference in our own lives and the lives of those that care about us and that we care about also. We'll go to a break and come back. Go to the phones, 1-800-229-3000. We're so grateful for all of those who came along and supported us at year end. Really, so many blessings came from 2020 to this ministry. Pretty shocked over that. We know that this has been a tough year for a lot of people. No guarantee that 2021 is going to be better, but let's do what we can, make some good decisions to make it as good as possible. 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back right after this with Milan Yerkovich, Dr. Alice Benton, Steve Arterburn here, and glad you're with us today.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography. It might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, February 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and I don't know if you realize that journaling is one of the most powerful things you can possibly do. It certainly solidifies areas that you're working on. It documents progress that you've made, thoughts that you may have, insights, and also big questions. And it can improve your life, strengthen your life spiritually and emotionally. And this month, for a gift of any amount, we're going to give you a New Life journal. We'll tell you more about that later, but if you are interested in a great journal, it's the New Life journal, and a gift of any amount, we'd be glad to send you one of those. All you have to do is call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Right now, we're going to go to the phones and talk to someone who's called us at 1-800-229-3000. And let's go to Brenda from Quakertown. That's WBYN is the station that she listens to. Hi there. You're on with Milan Yerkovich, Dr. Alice Benton, Steve Arterburn. How you doing today?
Thank you so much for taking my call, and Happy New Year to all of you.
Same to
I
you.
called before there, and my problem now is that I don't know how to deal with my husband's anger. And we are raising 2 grandchildren, and he gets so angry with us, and I just don't know how to respond anymore. It's very frustrating, heartbroken.
What does he do when he gets angry?
He's not violent, but the way that he reacts and the words that are coming out of his mouth, it's out of his character, and I understand his anger, but I just don't know how to respond to it. We've been married for 35 years, and we're raising 2 grandchildren, and I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I'm just going to have to walk out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's, Milan, why don't we start with you and find out a little bit more about it and see what we can do to help.
Well, Brenda, when you say it's not his character, I sort of take a different approach than that. My approach is that stress exposes what's real. And when we're really stressed and under a lot of pressure, or we're frustrated and poked and prodded by life or grandkids, the true us shows up. I never know what a person's going to be like until I see them stressed. I never know what a person's going to be like until I see what they do with the word no. So I realize your husband, and it must be that he is under a lot of stress. But what was he like before the 2 grandchildren were in the house?
Well, it doesn't have nothing to do with the grandchildren. He loved them. It's just with what our son has done in life and inflicted so much pain upon our lives that we just... It's so ugly.
Okay.
Ugly what he's done.
Okay, so your son has performed poorly as a son and as a father. I assume he's the father of these 2 children.
Yes.
Okay, and so I have a recommendation. Are you able to spend time with the son, or is the son available to talk?
No, we completely stopped any relationship with him because we can't deal with the pain anymore. And the latest news of what we found out that he did to his sister, our daughter, it just that really broke the tip of the ice.
Okay.
My husband is just like,
All right. So what's really important here is that your husband has experienced a severe loss, a severe disappointment. And with the severe loss and disappointment, his heart is broken, but anger is a part of the loss cycle. But your husband also has to learn to grieve the losses that your son has placed upon your family. And I highly recommend that your husband get involved in grief work where he can go and acknowledge the loss, be around other people that have major losses and disappointments in their lives. Because when we cannot cry or when we cannot accept the loss, we're always fighting it and we're angry and we're opposing it. So a new approach to all of this, and you're saying you would have to leave, another approach is to say, no, we're going to go to a grief group and acknowledge the losses our son has brought upon our family and let him face that. Alice, what do you think?
Brenda, I want to point out how quickly you minimized what Milan asked about the grandkids. I think letting go of your certainty of what exactly your husband, his anger is about, and allowing more curiosity on your part, imagining that you may not know the extent of his anger. I mean, I think about the generosity of you folks taking on your grandkids and what a struggle it is for young parents with kids, let alone grandparents raising children. And if you take curiosity to your husband and leave your assumptions aside to ask him, I see that you're frustrated. Would you tell me what it's about? But stay in a listening mode to gather information from your husband. Because it may be more than just your son. It probably is a lot more than just your son. And then I think you need to let your husband know the way he's showing his anger is not working for you. You probably already have asked him if he'll get help, but I think you got to ask him again. And let him know if his anger continues as is, you're going to have to change your own behavior to protect yourself, Brenda, to limit your exposure to his unhealthy displays of anger. I think about Proverbs 19:19. If an angry man is allowed to be angry and there's no penalty for it, the victim of his anger will continue to be victimized, and that's you. So we've got to take a strong stand against unholy anger and protect yourself and your grandkids from it.
Yeah, I really like that. And one other thing I just want to say, when you talk with him, sometimes men respond by hearing a contrast. To say to him, you know, here is the way you used to be with all of us. And you lay out before he was angry, how he was, how he communicated. And then now here is what we're seeing. And I don't know exactly the source of this or why the change, but it's a dramatic change. And so let's do something about it. If it's a need to grieve our losses and what's happened, let's go to that grief group together. If it's something other than that I'm not aware of, I'll do anything to help you, but we just can't continue like this. But I think it's good to point out who he was before the anger.
And, you know, couples therapy with a therapist who understands trauma and pain and difficulties like this in family dynamics, it would be good if both of them went together so they could have a chance to process and learn to listen to each other, just like Alice, you said. I think one of the most powerful things we do in our offices is teach people to learn to tolerate the opinions, thoughts, and feelings of other people. That's not easy to do. Most of us want to push it away quickly and get mad and repel it. But to absorb and listen is very, very important. So, it's a good idea, Alice.
Okay, so I have to say this too, and I'm going to send you a copy of Healing is a Choice that maybe there'll be some insight in there in resolving this. And I'm also going to send you How We Love. Now, that's the foundational textbook of our Intimacy in Marriage Intensive, which is coming up February 13th. If the two of you could go to that,
Yes.
there's so many issues that are addressed there and what destroys, blocks intimacy. You know, it's kind of also for anybody else in dealing with something like this, it's a non-threatening way when you just say, look, things haven't been exactly the way they were a few years ago. Why don't we go to this thing? So then you're not having to point out whatever the big deal is. You're just saying, let's just go. And so often people see the problem themselves when they go to the Intimacy in Marriage Intensive. You can find out about it at newlife.com, or you can also just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let's go to Kim, San Francisco, and she listens on the great station KFAX. Hi there. How are you, Kim? Welcome.
Yeah, hi. Fine, thank you. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So my question is, I have a sister whom I love dearly, and we're both in our 50s, and I want to ask you something about her behavior she's been displaying. It's just been going on a long time. She often tells me that she gets dirty looks from people. It might be someone she knows or a stranger in a store. And when I'm talking with her and she's telling me something, she'll say to me, why are you looking at me like that? You're looking at me like I'm crazy, or your face looks like you're saying I'm stupid, or something like that. And in no way am I even thinking that, and I can't convince her that I'm not thinking that. I'm just listening to her story. And so her false accusations are beginning to in a way, affect our relationship. And I can tell she distanced herself from me for a while. So that's my question. I don't know what's going on with her, and I don't know how to deal with that.
Okay.
Kim, do you know
Alice.
of any big event that happened that might have really impacted her and her sense of security?
She's been doing this a long time, but more so recently. I mean, she's been doing this for years, and but more so recently. She did recently leave her husband, who was emotionally abusive to her for about 10 years.
Oh.
So she left him about 2 years ago. So that's been big.
Well, Kim, I would say we all struggle with this to some extent, where people laugh as I walk by and I think, whoa, what is it about me that they laughed about? When that doesn't tend to be true. We exaggerate in our minds how much other people are thinking about us. Usually they're thinking about themselves and not about us. So part of this is just normal. But when our own sense of security has been damaged, like years of emotional abuse, it generates a great deal of anxiety, even sometimes a level of paranoia inside of us. And it's a projection. I feel so insecure in myself, and I'm worried about all the imperfections within me. So I assume all of you see that about me too, and you're thinking about it all the time. It's an exaggerated belief, probably based on anxiety and trauma from what she went through in her marriage.
And Kim, it can precede her marriage as well. Often, a child grows up in an environment where they're constantly in a phase of paranoia or fear, okay, and anxiety. And what children do, and I did this when I was a child, I would try to read people's faces so I could tell myself, are things going to be okay today or not? And so I would read and interpret of what I saw. And what happens when you become an adult, and I'll say this, that it worked for me as a kid, but what works for you as a child does not work for you as an adult. Because, as Alice said, many of people's expressions have nothing to do with you. But if you're insecure, you personalize it and then interpret it as though it's against you. So the solution or the help that your sister needs is help to understand, where did that hypervigilance come from? Where did that acute sense of watching and interpreting come from? And what happens with people like your sister is they see something and then they ascribe motives and intentions to it. which is childlike thinking. It's not adult thinking to ascribe motives and intentions. So that is, but may I say, Kim, this is common. It's not an uncommon thing. It's not rare. We see it all the time, and it's a part, in our book, it's a part of some of the attachment injuries that we talk about in our book, How We Love. The early attachment experience even sets you up to walk into difficult relationships, or for you to contribute to relationships that make the marriage difficult. The harder your childhood, the harder your adulthood. So one of the things we're going to do is send you some information on that, but you're on the right track asking the right questions, and but it's common, but your sister would decide she needed to work on it.
Okay, I'm going to send you How We Love. Milan and Kay Yerkovich wrote that. We'll be back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Conquer Worry and Anxiety by Dr. Daniel Amen, Healing is a Choice by Steve Arterburn, and Forgiving What You'll Never Forget and Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, both by Dr. Dave Stoop. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Glad you're with us here today. Steve Arterburn here with Dr. Alice Benton, Milan Yerkovich, and we would love to have you join us for one of our intensives. We've got Intimacy and Marriage coming up February the 13th. Milan and I will do that with his wife, Kay. Every Man's Battle is the 9th. Boy, that is right here. So if you are struggling, why don't you have the best year of your life by calling us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and signing up. It's online, so it's very confidential. You don't have to travel. Never been more convenient. Also, if you're married to somebody or you're dating somebody or whatever, call and find out what is the best way to motivate them or inspire them to get some help. And we've got some great folks that will help you with that.
This is right in line with your new theme for the year.
Yeah.
Diet or do it. So, do it. Get in one of our workshops and seminars. They are life-changing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Milan. Do it. Call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. By the way, tomorrow, Tana Amen, Dr. Amen, is so popular here. His wife has written an amazing book. It's on the relentless courage of a scared child. That's the title. And very, very moving book. I hope that you'll join us for that. She'll be on the entire program tomorrow. And if you have been scared as a child, if you have been full of fear, you're gonna find some great hope and healing here. If you'd like to join us on the phone here today, we'll be in the studio for another hour and a half. 1-800-229-3000. 3000. That is the number, 1-800-229-3000. Let's go to Joy from Seattle, Washington, and she listens to us, as many people do, on the podcast. So, how you doing, Joy? Welcome.
I'm doing all right, thank you.
How can we help today? What's going on?
I was calling to maybe get some perspective on my situation. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
We have my husband and I have a meeting with the Board of Elders tomorrow at our church, and this is a follow-up from 2 weeks ago when they met with me individually alone. My husband, it's come out that he has a pornography addiction in October, and he has lived out of the house since then. Sorry, the church board is pushing for him to come home, and they called me in 2 weeks ago to address the things they feel like I'm not doing, and it was just me and the 4 elders who are all men. And I wrote down some of the notes of things they said, and just that I needed to heed their advice because they're the elders, and it's a sin not to heed their advice.
What did they say you were not doing? Yeah, what were the specifics
that
of what?
I was not allowing my husband to move back home.
Okay.
And Joy,
so
what has
what curse me?
Joy, you sound.
Hold on, wait a second. And they said God would curse you if you didn't let him move back home?
If I didn't listen to the elders because he put them in charge.
I see. And tell me the name of your church, or what is it, a denomination, or what? Tell me a little bit about that.
We're a Baptist church, Southern Baptist Church.
Okay.
What else? Sorry.
Yeah. I was raised Southern Baptist, and there are a lot of different types of church leaders in a Baptist church, a Southern Baptist church. And each one of the things that the Southern Baptists kind of pride themselves in is that each church is much more independent than dependent. So first of all, I want to say that not every Southern Baptist church would even ever think about having an elder meeting to discuss personal problems or marital problems going on with someone in the church. That is more the exception than the rule. I also would say that there are Southern Baptist churches that would never, ever subject a woman to being in a meeting with 4 male elders, them telling her what she must do or be cursed by God. So I just want to make that general statement because it's important that people know that. This is not the norm for evangelical churches or for Southern Baptist churches. And I will tell you this. I believe it is highly inappropriate for anyone to ever say to anybody that they're going to be cursed if they don't follow someone else's direction. Now, I want to tell you, I try to give the best advice or insight that I have. But I know that I can miss something. I could be blind to something. I would never be so arrogant as to think that I'm always going to be right. Even if I could find 3 other people to agree with me, I would never assume that I'm always going to be right about something, especially when a man has broken his vows in marriage and has become, more connected to pornography than his wife. And so this is one of those situations. I'm very glad that you called. I know that there are people listening to us, and you go to a church like this, or you lead a church like this, and what I'm saying is very offensive to you. Well, I hope you would listen to the spirit in which I'm saying this, because people's lives are at stake. Marriages are at stake here. And what you could be doing is preventing the change that could change everything. We'll be back.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop will be held online Saturday, February 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. We're talking with Joy and her husband back in October. A pornography problem comes up. The church gets involved, and now they're saying, hey, listen to us or you're going to be cursed by God. Do what we say or you'll be cursed by God. And they're saying he needs to move back in. Let's go to you, Milan, and what do you think would be her next good, best move?
Well, Joy, your husband left in October, and I'm just wondering why he left the house. Did he leave because you told him he had to leave?
He left because he was working in a different area, and when I noticed on his phone the direction that his searches were going, I was concerned for our two adopted daughters because I didn't know the extent of what he was going on with or what he was into.
Sure.
So I asked him to stay where he was at that point until it was figured out.
I see. And that's a good choice because you don't know what he's into. If he had a secretive addiction and you have no idea what he's in. How old are your two adopted daughters?
They're 9 and 13.
Okay. How does the idea, what happened to you emotionally when you found out that your husband was into pornography? What emotions did you feel?
That's a tough one because we've been growing further apart for years. So of course I felt betrayal, and I felt like maybe that explained a lot of things. But it didn't really hit me as hard as I think it would have had we been closer, of course.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that you've drifted apart. Is your husband suggesting any kind of a plan that he would like to embark upon to do two things? One, for the two of you to grow closer together, and number two, to help with his porn addiction. Is he suggesting anything, any kind of a plan?
Really, the suggestions have come from me, not him.
Okay. And does he want to come home?
Yes. He says he does.
Does he want it? But what kind of a home does he want to come home to? A distant home where he continues his pornography? Is just a convenient place to stay because I know where everything is, my bed, I like it? Or does he really want to build a relationship with you?
Right. I don't know.
That would be something I would really say is important. I've had many people come into my office. I remember one guy said, I need some help with a sexual addiction. And he said, can I come see you? And I said, yes, if you bring your wife with you. And we're going to do work in your marriage as well as work on this pornography or sexual addiction that you have. And we're trying to do two things at once. We're really trying to work on that. If he were to go to every man's battle, he would get an important start. Do you think your husband is a Christian?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So every man's battle would be very important. In other words, you should have some requirements for his reentry. That he wants to treat you like, oh, okay, well, he needs to hear them, and so does the church. And I would really...
They have.
Okay, and I would really work...
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Don't be sorry. I'm glad you are, because it's really important to clarify these things. You need to have your set of requirements for your husband to come in: a contrite heart, willingness to be authentic and tell you everything, and get to work on the reason why you guys had drifted apart, as well as the nature of his addiction. It can be overcome, and the two of you could have a great relationship. Now, Alice, I've sort of monopolized here a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
what are you thinking, Alice?
Move over, Miley.
Yeah. So.
Joy, you started with a voice full of tears, fear, and 1,000 pounds of pressure from these church elders and probably other folks as well for you to allow him back in. And I want to walk in that meeting with you tomorrow. And I don't want you to go without a female advocate, because it is wise and it's biblical to reconsider some level of reconciliation when you see the fruit of his behavior, the fruit in his behavior. But when you've said multiple times, I don't know what he wants, I don't know how close he wants to be, I think he's a Christian, that tells me that his behavior is not showing strong determination and consistent daily effort to prove to you that he's a trustworthy man. And if the pornographic searches you saw gave you concern for your daughters, perhaps because of the type of pornography that he's watching, and I think you'd be right to be concerned that they may be at risk. I'd even be asking them questions about what has happened to them, if anything, not to imply that it has, but just to take that safety measure. And I hope you garner strength from your motherly protection of your daughters to stand firm that you may reconsider allowing him back home after you see consistent change in his behavior. And even Jesus says, look for the fruit in the behavior.
Yeah. Now, I started this by questioning the whole concept of them dealing with your personal situation. Now I'm going to take another step. I think it would be a horrific mistake for you to take their advice now that we know you have a 9 and a 13-year-old. Is that right? That's their ages?
Yes, that's right.
2 adopted daughters. You, their mother, are concerned about them, what they would be exposed to, even if it's just the concern that one day they're going to find his phone and there's some picture or whatever the concern is. It's not just about you, and it's not just about him, it's about them. And so I'm telling you that I think they have made a horrible mistake in telling you to have him come back home, disregarding you as the mother of these 2 girls, disregarding your opinion that it isn't safe for him to be home. And so I'm going to tell you, do not do what they tell you to do until you feel like it's safe for your daughters. And I would just say that to them. I hear what you're saying. I am willing to move the direction you're talking about, reconciliation, him moving back home. But as the mother of these girls, I'm telling you, I will not subject them to either walking in on him doing something inappropriate or seeing something on a computer or phones. I'm not going to do that. And I've taken it on good advice. Milan's nodding. If you're watching us on Facebook, you see Milan and Alice are nodding that this is what we think is wise. What you've done is wise. Don't succumb to their pressure, because your motive is the safety of these girls, not just because you want control or whatever it would be, or you want separation. So here's the path. You say to them, no, I'm not going to do it until he has become safe. Here's how he becomes safe. He goes to every man's battle. It's real simple. And then he's in an accountability group. And then I see the changes in his behavior. The fruits of his behavior change. That's when I will determine, as the mother of these girls, it is safe to have this man in the same household with them, and I will invite him to come back home. And that is honoring a godly standard. That is honoring good discernment on the part of a mother and a woman. That's what I would recommend to you to do.
Okay. That makes sense. I don't necessarily feel for their fear for their safety, because I feel like we've kind of flushed that out for the most part, but I do fear of what they might encounter, like you said, or what might come out of his mouth, or I don't know, something like that.
Well, when I say safety, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about him molesting them. I'm saying that it's not safe if they could walk in on him participating with pornography, or if they see pornography, or if he's saying inappropriate things because of the influence of pornography. All of that makes it unsafe for them. It's not just some kind of physical threat there. I'm going to send you a copy of Worthy of Her Trust, and I send you two copies. Give one to your husband, and you give one to the head of that elder board. And in that book, it really does tell you what would a person see who is worthy to be invited back home once this has been discovered. I'm so glad that you called. We'll pray for you, we'll pray for him, and we'll pray that the elder board would soften a little bit on their position for men telling a mother what she needs to do or be cursed by God. I hate to hear that.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
Every Man's Battle, I fought it the whole week with my wife. Within 2 hours, you could have opened a book. It showed me where my life has been ever since I was a little boy.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, January 9th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
He said, this may have saved my life.
Every Man's Battle was a life-changing experience for me and a marriage-saving experience for me.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Growth Has No Boundaries by Drs. John Townsend and Henry Cloud, Take Your Life Back by Steve Arterburn and Dr. Dave Stoop, and the Emotional Freedom Workbook. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here with Dr. Alice Benton and Milan Yerkovich. Now Larry Sonnenberg's in the studio. Larry, what do you have for us here on the first day I'm back here on a wonderful new 2021?
Yeah, we're looking forward to this year. After last year, I think everybody is.
Yes.
But I want to tell you about a phone call that happened last week. Becky was hosting. Alice and Joe were on, and Alice might clarify this more than I. This lady called because her husband had a heart transplant, and she said he had a change in personality. She wondered if that was normal, and they talked about that. And then, as a lot of our calls do, kind of as an aside, she commented that she was hurt. Going through I think it was a parking lot in a public place. She took her mask off, and she had lost a lot of teeth. She had very poor dental care, and a woman said something to the effect like, "Why don't you go get your teeth fixed or go get new teeth?" And she said that really hurt. It took her back to when she was in foster care. She had been in 70 foster care homes.
Whoa.
70. And you could almost hear the gasp like we did from the ladies hosting. Well, that's just part of the story. After the radio program, 2 people called. One lady called and said, "I want to pay for her to get new teeth."
Wow.
Another lady called and said, "I want to pay for her to get counseling."
Wow.
And they've been in touch, and that's going to happen. And the reason I like that story is, it's when you're giving to New Life, you can't always give to a specific caller. But that's what you're giving to, a ministry that is compassionately communicating God's truth. That's our mission. And it connects people into redemptive relationships. So it might not feel exciting or sexy to give a general fund of a ministry and think you don't exactly know how they're going to use that money. But when you're giving to New Life, that's what you're giving to. We are helping people in ways that you don't know. Our callers are helping. The listeners are helping, and we just want to keep this going. So as we start the new year, please consider a gift to New Life. And we'll give you that, not devotional, the journal.
The journal, yeah. Oh, man, I love that story. And it just affirms having a live program where, we can have a need and then somebody can literally, like in this case, specifically meet that need. And I
loved it that we didn't say, if you could help this lady, would you please? No, these are compassionate folks that just called us.
I love that.
So so thank you, everybody.
Yes, big thanks to everyone, and especially to those 2. If you can help us, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we will send you this New Life journal. I think you'll love it. I think, I'll tell you more about it later because we're a little short on time, and I want to go to one more phone call. If you want to join us on the phone, it's 1-800-229-3000, 1-800-229-3000. And we'll be in studio for another hour or so. But right now, let's go to Carol, Annapolis, Maryland. WAVA is the station. Hey there, how are you today, Carol?
Hi, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. What's going on?
Oh, good. So the lady that was just on the phone with you, was her name Alice?
It was Joy.
Joy was her name.
Joy. Okay, I thought it was Joy, but then... So I called in just to encourage her, and I hope she's still listening. She's doing everything right. You guys, I've been listening to you since 2012. Long story short, went through the exact same thing she's going through. Actually listened to the elders of our church, and then it was not good. And then just had another woman that really encouraged me, gave me the confidence I needed. So I just want her to know that I'm going to be praying for her. The elders in my church pretty much told me all these wrong things that were going to happen to me. So be prepared, Joy, because I will be praying for you, and make sure you pray before you go in, and stay strong with these men and women that you've called into today. That was a reason and a purpose, and God brought you to them, and they have given you exact advice that you need to hear that's biblically grounded. And the other thing is, just stay firm. What Steve told you to say, just write that down and repeat it. And just repeat it. Don't go down the trails of how whatever the elders say, that God's going to do this or God's going to do that. No, you have to save your 2 daughters and yourself right now. And your husband needs to prove to you that he loves you and that he will do what you want in order to get back into that home and love you like Christ loves the church, and that he has died for you, and that he's going to do what he can to work on the sin in his life as you work on accepting him and retrusting him. So that's it.
Oh, thank you.
For you.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, Carol, thanks for that encouragement, and I really hope that Joy will take that, and she'll see that as another sign, some confirmation that maybe sometimes people don't have all the information they need to be giving advice. And I'm going to send Carol a Restoration Bible, and just my gift to her, and I'm so grateful that she called. So all of us, we have choices in the churches we go to. And I really hope and pray that you are going to a church that stands for something. I believe in all the fundamentals that you would find in any fundamentalist church. I just don't believe in playing that out or spreading the enforcement of those fundamentals in a way that some fundamentalists would. But we really believe that there is a truth, a true truth is what we call it. We founded this ministry on true truth, the way God would interpret this Bible if he was here reading it out loud to us. And we believe that truth combined in redemptive relationship, not controlling or harsh relationship, but redemptive relationship, that's how transformation occurs. And God has given us a lot of freedom of choice. And I think we need to really use that, as the Bible says, not to do things that are crummy or hurtful, but do it to honor him and to improve our lives, not to make them more difficult. Sometimes, you have to disturb the peace to make peace. Mm-hmm. God doesn't love peace keepers. The Bible says he loves peacemakers. And again, you have to disturb the peace to make peace. And we don't want you to hurt anybody needlessly. But sometimes hurt is helpful. If you are going to just make pain the indicator of whether something is helpful or not, then you're probably not ever going to go to a doctor and have anything done, or a dentist that might be painful but might fix something in the long run. And sometimes people don't respond to anything until it becomes painful enough for them to say, I need to make a change. And that's what we're wanting. We don't want anybody to be separated or divorced or go against their church. But, sometimes you have to have a boundary, a standard. And when somebody's broken the vows, and we do believe that pornography is a vow-breaking act, then you have to do some tough things. First, you invite the person to make some changes, and when they don't, then sometimes you have to say, here's what I need to see. Here's what you need to do. And we have seen this over and over again. It's the beginning of a transformation. It's not just, okay, now we're through that episode and we have to go through it again in a few months. If you need some help in trying to talk to somebody in a tough way that might prove transformational or helpful, call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's the same number for any kind of help. Our first workshop this year, 5 days away. Come join us for Every Man's Battle. And join us for the next program, 1-800-229-3000. Thank you, Milan, and thank you, Alice. And thanks to all of you who listen, watch, pray, and support us.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.